Hello and welcome back to EAC, the movie, TV show, and video game review channel that hopefully gives you a little bit of a basis on whether one of those things is good or bad. Today I'm going to be reviewing Paranormal Activity, which came out in 2007, directed by Oren Peli, starring Katie Featherston and Mika Slow as a couple who move into a house, but for once in a horror movie, the haunting is actually not because of the house, but because of Katie herself. She has a demonic attachment to her that's apparently been following her since she was around 8 years old, as she says in the movie, and a big exposition scene. And this movie was free on Xfinity On Demand, so I just felt like watching it. This was my first time seeing the full movie. I've seen little snippets of it, and I thought all the scenes I've seen from it were very entertaining. I knew how it ended, I knew how the whole movie wrapped up, and I wanted to see the full movie, so I finally did. This movie came out all the way back in 2007, as I said, and being a huge horror fan as I am, I somehow haven't seen it until now. And I really don't understand why. This movie was really scary. It was actually the first movie that made me scream out loud from being scared, a jump scare that happens, and I'm actually getting scared just thinking back to it because it was such an unnerving way to end the movie. And also, spoilers coming up. If you haven't seen Paranormal Activity by any chance, or if you care about spoilers in this video, stop watching the video, go see the movie. It's pretty much worth it. And come back here and finish watching the video. But spoilers from here on out. And this movie was directed by Oren Peli, as I said, but it's very based on improvised performances by Katie Featherston and Mika Slow, and they both give awesome performances. It feels so real throughout the whole movie, and my dad, I was watching this with my dad, and he actually said, "You know this isn't real, right?" And I was like, "Yeah, but it feels real, especially how it ends. There are no credits, even though there are like 5 people in this movie starring in it. The people in this movie are great actors and actresses. They really sell it throughout the whole movie, in my opinion. There are some parts where it's a bit over the top. They are acting a bit tense, and they do that for a couple lines in a row, and that can be bothersome in some points, but I think throughout the whole movie, they seem totally real and like actual people that you're watching a found footage movie that someone really just took on a camera, and somehow this company got their hands on it and made it into a movie. It really feels like that, even though this, of course, isn't real. But yeah, so let's talk about the characters. Katie, I thought, was great in this movie. She plays Katie. Katie Featherston plays herself, Katie, in this movie. Or I don't know herself, but her own name in this movie. And that also makes it feel really real. Everyone plays their own person in this movie, their own name. So that also adds to the realism in this movie. I thought Katie was fine in this movie. She was great as the main demonic attachment person in this movie. The demon is attached to her, and Mika is her boyfriend. And I honestly felt that Mika was a bit annoying throughout the whole movie. He's honestly kind of a dick throughout this whole movie. And there's one scene when, or actually a couple of scenes that all kind of add up together, when he's like, "Oh, I want to get a Ouija board and stir this thing up that's attached to you." And Katie's like, "No, don't do it, promise me." And then he's like, "I promise I won't buy a Ouija board." And then, of course, later, he, of course, gets a Ouija board, and he's like, "I didn't buy it, I borrowed it." It's just like, just attitudes like that, which makes him a bit unlikable at first. And near the end, he does start to believe that there is something actually serious here, because at the beginning, as I said, he's trying to kind of call out the demon and provoke it at first, but after things start getting like really serious, he does kind of start to shut up a little bit. And Katie is also annoyed at him that he's always holding the camera, because he is the main filmer in this movie. It was his idea to get the camera. And there are parts at the beginning of the movie, it does take a bit long to set up to actually get the first night, as they call it. In the movie, it says night 1, blah, 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 whatever time and stuff, the date and stuff. And it does take a little while to get to there. There is a lot of exposition at first with a psychic or a psychiatrist or something. I'm pretty sure it's a psychic that comes to the house, and he basically says, "Okay, so tell me about yourself." That's just like a pretty lazy way to get exposition out of the characters and kind of say what they were doing before the movie and what has been happening. Katie tells about her attachment to the demon and all the problems that have been going on. So that is a big exposition dump, but that's pretty much it. Throughout the rest of the movie, there isn't really a lot of exposition. So that one scene does kind of pile it on, and I guess that's better than having it spread throughout the movie. But yeah, so that one scene does have a lot of exposition, and that also is part of the big long stretch of things that doesn't get to night 1 as of yet. they are just kind of filming random things, and Mika is telling Katie, oh, you want to do some extracurricular activities later? And it, just random lines like that kind of makes him seem a bit mean in the movie and a bit annoying, so that does add on to his annoying kind of character. And yeah, a lot of scenes like that at the beginning, a lot of just setting things up and just random talk between them. And you think about it, they wouldn't really be filming that in real life. It's obviously just there to kind of get the movie going, but as I said, it does take a bit long. But after the first quarter of the movie, I would say, it really does pick up, and especially like at the halfway mark, whenever the Ouija board sets on fire by itself, everything after that is just chaos, and it is one of the scariest movies I've ever seen. And whenever they speed up the time during the nights, you can see in the bottom right hand corner it says what time it is, and when it's speeding up, it's so tense. You're just waiting there for the time to stop and for the scene to actually be played in real time. And whatever happens there, again, it feels so real because you never actually see the demon. You see its shadow in the door a couple times, and when it appears, you just find yourself sweating in your seat. And after this movie, I actually found myself sweating, and my adrenaline was really pumping after the last scene. So let's talk about that last scene for a little bit. So everything has been leading up to this. This is the final night that we get to see of these characters. And as I said, I don't know if I really talked about this in depth, but they don't have a credits at the end. They just say what happened to the characters, and then it shows the Paranormal Activity was released by whoever and the release day and all the legal information, and that's it. It doesn't say directed by Oren Peli, starring blah blah blah, and that does add to the realism, as I said before. But yeah, so the last scene in the movie, the last night, sees Katie being, once again, very unnerving in the camera. She's just standing there for the second time in the movie. There's just a huge prolonged sequence when the time is sped up and she's just standing in the same place. One time is on her side of the bed. She stands up and just stands there for a while. The second time, aka the last night, the last scene, she stands on Mika's side of the bed, and then when she leaves the room, the door closes, I'm pretty sure, and then she starts yelling for Mika. And I'm being totally honest, I'm getting just scared talking about this. You need to see the movie if you haven't seen this. So Katie is outside the door. She's screaming for Mika after she had her standoff with him on his side of the bed. She walks out of the room. I'm pretty sure the door closes. She starts screaming for him. Mika runs out, and he is screaming for her. She's screaming for him, and then it just goes silent. And then you hear footsteps of someone coming back into the room, and you don't see who they are yet. They're in the dark. And then suddenly, Mika's dead body flies at the camera, knocks it to the ground, and then we see Katie with blood all over her stomach and on her chest, still possessed by the demon. The demon has been controlling her that whole night, except for maybe the part when she's yelling for Mika. I mean, the demon might have done that himself to get Mika to go into the other room, or he might have left the body of Katie. Katie would have started screaming naturally, and then went back into Katie's body, killed Mika. And I mean, I know I said his character was pretty annoying throughout the whole movie, but damn, this is one way to end the movie. And then Katie looks at the camera, gives a smile, and then her CGI face goes towards the camera at the end. And that was the scene that I knew. And I knew that Mika died when I went to this movie. But when I actually saw the full movie and learned about Mika's character more, I loved how this movie ended. It gave you such an unnerving feeling, as I keep on saying, but it really does. It makes you scared for these characters who aren't real. And you think about it, it's just like, wow, Katie just murdered Mika, even though it was the demon inside of her who did it. And then it comes up, Mika's body was found 3 days later or something by the police, and Katie is still not found. She's still on the run, they're pretty much saying, and the police haven't found her yet. And it really puts a weird feeling inside of you. You're sweating and you're all tense. And that was the scene when Mika's body flew at the camera. That was the scene when I actually screamed out loud for the first time ever. I jumped and screamed and said, Jesus! And my dad and my sister actually came in and was watching the last part of the movie. And they both started laughing, and I was like, what? It scared the living crap out of me. And it really did. This movie was very scary. If you love horror movies, then you probably, first of all, have already seen this movie. But if you haven't, you should definitely check it out. And this movie, Yes, it's very scary, but as I said at the beginning with all the exposition dumping, and Mika's character is a bit annoying, and how they're just filming at the beginning regularly and not really focusing on the ghost part. It takes a little while to get set up. Yeah, that does tank the grading of this a little bit, but it overall is a very positive grade from me. This was a very terrifying movie, and for that reason, I'm going to be giving Paranormal Activity a 6.5 out of 10. But anyways, guys, thank you all so much for watching my review on Paranormal Activity. Look forward to more videos from me in the near future. But for now, I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you all later. Goodbye.